welcome to Talk Movies Podcast. I'm Cam.
I'm Luke.
And we are talking about the 2014 psychological
Horror film.
Whiplash. This week was Luke's week to pick, and we kind of let you guys pick too. I kind of already knew this one was going to win. I was also hoping this one was going to win. But Luke, can you talk about why you chose to wanted this movie and like what other movie you wanted to do?
This week had The Matrix and Whiplash coming back into select theaters for their anniversaries, and like to celebrate. I think we checked the last episode, and one of them was not like celebrating the anniversary this week.
Yeah,
it's just back for it.
I think that was The Matrix.
Yeah, so that was the other one. I wanted to do Matrix because I had previously on my Instagram talked about Whiplash in an Instagram story from like earlier in the year or last year. So I felt like I already talked about it. I didn't really want to do it again. But then Matrix I hadn't yet, so I thought that'd be good. But people decided we are here for Whiplash, not The Matrix.
We are here for Whiplash.
But could we still be in The Matrix?
It's a whole other thing. I think it's a great movie. I think this was like my third time watching it, and I felt like I learned something this time that I hadn't noticed before. But we'll get into that. Might be a long one, so get your popcorn or whatever ready. All right, so film stars Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons, pretty much all you need to know. And it was directed by Damien Chazelle.
Chazelle, like gazelle, but Chazelle.
Sure. All right, so backstory. This movie was actually a short film. Well, it started off as a feature. It was written as a feature first, and then he needed funding for this movie, so he took a piece out for a short film, a 17-minute short film, and he got the funding from the short film. Not a lot, though. The budget for this was only $3 million, 3.3. Grossed a lot, though. I think like 50, 49. And yeah, it's so real. It's like, I feel like this is what people want. I feel like it's another thing, one of those like dude traits, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the best, I'm gonna put everything into it. And unfortunately, I'm kind of guilty of it. I kind of want to do this type, not music, but like have that much drive into. I think
it's safe to say everybody kind of has that about something they're passionate about.
Yeah, like I'm not getting like slapped,
no,
and all the
symbols being thrown at him.
Yeah, I'm not going for that, but I don't know, just having that intensity of like the stuff I love, like this, I don't know, just the stuff I love and the stuff I'm passionate about. I don't think we ever really do what the movie's about, so I guess we can start doing that now for those who haven't seen. So pretty much it's about Miles Teller, named Andrew Neiman, and he's an aspiring jazz musician. He plays the drums, and J.K. Simmons,
Terrence
Fletcher, he's the conductor of a band, which Teller, I keep saying that real name, which Neiman wants to get in. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Which Neiman wants to get into. So he gets into the band eventually, and he's just getting treated harshly, in a way that, if a parent saw this, your kid was getting treated like this, like, oh yeah, I'm taking my kid out of the band. But Miles loves it, or I keep saying that, forget it, you get it. Andrew loves it. He doesn't love the treatment, but he loves like the drive and the hustle and the passion for it. But it's messing up his everyday life. He's trying to get a girlfriend, and shortly after he gets her, he's like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. This is gonna ruin. You're gonna hold me back. I'm trying to be something great. And just treating everybody like crap. He's treating his family like crap, even though they treat him like crap. Even though they treat him like crap too. That's at the dinner table. But it's just taking a toll on him. He got into a car accident. He's literally putting. I think this movie is a great embodiment of blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh yeah,
and I think that kind of like that's the basis of the movie, putting it all into something. But because he wants to be great, but wanting to be great comes at that price of like mental deterioration.
Yeah. Something I had wrote down like in my notes watching this was the aggression versus passion.
Yeah, I've already given,
because it's mainly Andrew's inner conflict, like through the film that he has, where he wants to be one of these greats, and he has a deep, deep passion for what he's doing. I mean, the first moment that we see him in the film, he's already just practicing drums late in the night.
Mm-hmm.
But the aggression that he has for it, whether it's at the hands of Fletcher or himself being angry with other people, like when he has the breakup scene.
Yeah.
I have a gripe about that.
Right.
Yeah. But no, like you see that and it's continued to develop through the film. And then the point that you think that he's kind of accepted, he's like, I'm passionate about what I'm doing, but it's not worth that aggression. He falls right back into that vacuum after he gets Fletcher fired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, but that comes at like a great payout though.
Yeah.
You don't see it, but you know this is a story to tell because you want this is do chronological. You want to do chronological? I feel like we could just bounce all over the place.
We probably should go chronological.
Okay, so where to start? I think that I wonder if that's how everyone gets their part because we see it twice with not even just the drums, but we see it with when the original I forget the guys or with the original band with the original drummers when Miles comes to take his spot.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if that's how everyone gets their spot. Like he finds them, he puts them against each other, and then he like pushes them that much like their first day or two. So we see it with the original Miles Teller and then the ginger. Yeah.
Which I want to spin off into the insults that Fletcher has.
Oh, they're great.
I will not quote them because I don't feel comfortable saying them on YouTube. But
viewers, they don't know what he said, you know.
That's true.
We can censor it.
That's true. All right. So these insults, I would argue, are some of the most wild insults I think I have ever seen or heard. Because the script is so well written and it's like so vulgar at times. The amount of times the word is said through this film is a lot.
Yeah.
Like if we kept a counter, probably over 120.
Probably. No, probably not. Oh, well,
I would argue over 100.
Yeah, because I was thinking of the movie with the highest F word count. It was Wolf of Wall Street at one point. I think it was like 500 something. So probably over 120.
Yeah. But so anyway, there's all sorts of insults, and I think the greatest scene of the insults is the rushing versus dragging scene. Whenever they're training and Andrew is practicing on the drums, right? And it's not quite his tempo for Fletcher. And so Fletcher gets like really up close into his face and is yelling at him. And he's like counting quarter notes or whatever. And he starts counting and he slaps him across the face every time it gets to the fourth note. And he's like, what is this? And he tells him, he's like, what is that? And they keep going off. And he finally gets him to start like playing it. But he's doing it where, and I'm not a band kid, so I wouldn't know. But the rushing and dragging, I'm guessing rushing is like you're hitting the cymbals too fast, and dragging is like your sticks aren't coming straight off, like it's dragging off.
I think dragging like you're behind. That
might be it.
Late and early, pretty much.
Yeah. So he's doing that, and Fletcher's yelling at him, and finally he gets off of it, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know they let into Schaefer."
Oh.
Hey, you said we could believe that afterward. That will be believed. But anyway, what do you mean no? Anyway, so that's one of them, obviously. And he just keeps going on and on throughout. I probably wrote them down, to be honest. Let me see if I wrote them down. Okay, so that's one. And then there's one where they're talking like later on for one of their big rehearsals or whatever. And something about misplacing an item.
Yeah, the folder.
It might have been slightly after that, because it wasn't about the folder itself that I wrote down, but it was the one where they said, if you give a calculator to we'll try and turn the TV on with it. Stuff like that. It's in a similar scene to that.
I know. Let me think. What was he talking about? Oh my God, what was he talking about?
It had to have been in that same scene with the folder and stuff. If you watch it, you'll find it.
Yeah, I think it was because... Oh my gosh, what was he talking about?
It had to have been the folder, because I wrote it like right after the "get the out of my sight before I demolish you" quote. And that's in the same scene as the folder. So it would have to be right after.
Yes. I think you're right.
Yeah. But regardless, wild insults.
Probably stop saying it.
Yeah, I'm going to stop saying that. But then there's one that's like a little more toned down that I kind of liked at the dinner scene, where it's like, it's not Fletcher saying it, but it's still just a nice kind of quick insult. There's
with the family?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this family, they're kind of bickering over who's doing what with their college lives, and Andrew's dad got Teacher of the Year or something like that, so he's bragging about that a little bit.
Mhm.
And then the two siblings of the other family are talking about their football careers in like a Division III school or something, which
Right.
isn't that good apparently.
Yeah.
And so they're talking about that, and whenever Andrew's talking about his music career and stuff, his dad tells him, he's like, I don't want to have a son that crashes out and burn or something like that. And the quote that he says is, I'd rather die drunk, broke at 34 and have people at a dinner table talk about me than to live to be rich and sober at 90 and nobody remember who I was.
When he said that, it kind of reminded me of the live long enough to become a hero or die young enough to become a...
Yeah, which unrelated, Christopher Nolan did not write that.
Yeah, his brother did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like it. He was confused at
Yeah,
first.
he was like, I didn't want that in there.
Yeah. Which that wasn't the first time it was said, though.
Just that's not a word. Whacked this mic around. Anyway.
I think that's a very good like way to think about stuff too. Because what would you rather?
I mean, I like life. I wouldn't want to die, but
I mean, no one wants to die, but put an impact on the world early and get out, or like just be by yourself. And
I guess kind of it would tie back into what we discussed a little bit with 2 episodes ago on a movie we didn't talk about.
right.
But we're like, if you don't really have purpose until you die, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like if you do something, it's not really that impactful, and like the life that you live is determined by what happens after you die, kind of thing.
Oh, like your impact.
Yeah,
I get that. So
I would relate it to that probably.
that makes sense. I think I don't know if I have an answer. Like you said, everything matters when you die anyway. So
Yeah.
and I think this goes to test like not how deep the movie is, but just how it can relate to so many people. You see, we're talking about life and death based off a movie about a guy playing the drums. Pretty much the base of the movie. And I don't know if that was what the director wanted, or just if he knew how deep this would be. But I don't know. I really like it because it resonates a lot with me. And it's a certain type of movie. It doesn't weigh up to other ones that I watch, but there's a certain. I really want to watch journalism movies. One for entertainment, and 2 to like just like, oh yeah, I need to get back in that mood. Like Spotlight, and
Spotlight's a good movie.
Spotlight, She Said, Boston Strangler.
Even if you don't like happen to be in the world of journalism, they're still really good movies. You should check
Very
them
much
out.
so. Watch Spotlight.
Definitely from Spotlight.
But I feel like this could be one of those movies. I feel like this is one of those movies for specifically musicians. Like, oh yeah, I need to get back.
This is the Spotlight for musicians.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those that can really put the battery in your back. And I know I'm probably gonna butcher his name a couple more times, but Chazelle, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he has a thing for it's interesting. He went to school for film, but a lot of his movies have to do with jazz, going along with La La Land. And I know you want to talk about it, but
I do want to talk about La La Land comparisons here in a second.
yeah, you want to do it long, like a long thing?
I don't know if it'd be long, but I got some things to say.
All right, let's talk about
Whiplash first. Yeah, we'll
and
get
then,
to that.
I know we could do the camera stuff now though. So
That's fair.
this with this movie, it's interesting because I think it embodies all the good elements of film. You get the cinematography, and it's not my favorite, but it is unique because they have like that dirty like orange yellow hue the entire time.
Hints of green every now and then, but mostly the yellow.
Yeah, they have that. Really good writing. They have a really good score. I've been listening to that score or a couple of the songs
all night.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing that stuck out to me in that regard, other than the yellow color, was the camera. Because to me, it was a professional level of amateur, which is a good thing. It sounds like it's a bad thing. But
No.
So like when the most of the movie's playing out, there's the solid shots. So your camera's not really moving. It's just kind of stuck. But then there's moments where Andrew's running around or frantic or something, and the camera kind of starts to bob
Like handheld.
around.
Just
Yeah, it's handheld. And that's professionally amateur to me because like the amateur part's the bobbing, but spacing it out in moments where it matters to me is professional.
Yeah.
So I give it credit for that.
Yeah. I think those type of shots are necessity when it's fit. Like I like them when everyone's being frantic and something's a lot of chaos and like kind of overwhelming things are happening. And I think they do it in The Bear. That episode, do they do it in The Bear? I know in The Bear they do it a lot, and it wasn't as chaotic in this movie as it was those certain episodes in The Bear. But I do like them because it embodies, or I keep saying embodies, but really puts you in the mood, and you feel like you're in and you're being overwhelmed by all the things happening. Like imagine if like J.K. Simmons, that old guy's like just yelling at you in your face. You're like, I don't know, feel like you lost the folder,
Yeah, and I mean he's a nice guy in person from reports from other
I was
sources.
gonna ask, like he's like
I just have J. Jonah Jameson on call, but
Spider-Man.
yeah, but no, supposedly he's a nice person in real life. But then seeing him like be so terrifying and so mean to Andrew throughout the whole film, that's good acting.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too because he played that same role in the short film, and I just wondered what made him pick it. Well, I actually read this interview that had just came out. It came out 2 days ago today. We're filming this on Monday. This will come out Friday, so I guess a week. Yeah, a week by the time you see it. And it was this. The interview is 45 minutes, and it's just really good. It goes in depth about everything Chazelle and Simmons did behind the scenes. And it was shot in less than 3 weeks.
I did not know that.
Yeah, man, 20 days, 19 days. Simmons says it took him 19 days. Chazelle says it took him 20. But
it probably took 19 days for Simmons to film.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
And, obviously a couple months to edit. But the short film, the 20-minute thing, that took, I think he said it took 3 days. But just to, get all that done in 20 days. Like,
yeah, that's a pretty quick time.
Right.
I mean, there's movies with obviously way bigger budgets, even if it's smaller, that take months to film, and they don't get done in that quick of a time.
Yeah, no. And they filmed in September, and they were done by January because they wanted to submit it to Cannes and Sundance, which I think is incredible, man. You would have thought it took months to film that. I don't know. I don't know. I think this is a real test to show, or a real show of like, I don't know, if you got a dream, man, go get it. And I know that sounds so corny, and the way I said it sounded, if you got a dream, man, go get it. But like, honestly, to get that done in 20 days and then submit it,
it's impressive.
Yeah. And yeah, it really just takes a team, and yeah, it's great.
But Andrew, though, he did not follow his dream of getting a girlfriend very well. And this is where my, I think, one and only gripe with this movie is.
What's that?
Is the subplot between him and, I can't remember the character's name, but Melissa Benoist plays.
You know her real name, not her stage name?
I watched Supergirl when I was growing up. Not like heavy, but it played like after The Flash.
Okay, Nicole.
So, Nicole. So she plays the love interest for Andrew in this movie. And so at first, like, watching it, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this will have something interesting. But if you take all of the scenes with the two of them out of this film, nothing really changes when you think about it.
Do you not like relationship? Like subplot relationship? This is the second time this has happened.
I've said before in one of the episodes, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was probably last one.
Diary of a Kid. You didn't like Chloe Grace Moretz.
No, okay. She wasn't a love interest, though. She was just there.
I mean, yeah, but still.
Yeah. And I still think Nicole is just there for this movie. Because to me, plot is the most important part of a story, whether it's movie, TV, whatever. If you don't have a good story, everything else falls apart under that. And the main basis of this part of the movie is about Andrew and Terrence Fletcher and them kind of going back and forth in the aggression versus passion kind of argument.
Mm-hmm.
But the relationship that he has with Nicole is not as cut off where it's like, I'm not interested in this, I want to go back to the other stuff. It's still interesting to watch, but when you get done watching the entire movie, you realize that that whole weird relationship thing was just for Andrew to verbally express his aggression versus passion argument. And I don't really think it needed to be verbally said. I think there was plenty of context that you could have picked that up on.
I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Hot take.
I think it shows Andrew's his desire to want to be more, and he thought he could like manage it. And I think seeing that out, because you don't really see it interfere. Well, you do, but like how it affects other people. You don't really see it with his dad. You really only see it with him, but you don't see how it's impacting the people around him. So when he got her to go, he got her on the date, and then they started dating. And I didn't want to see too much of it either, because then it takes away, like, you're trying to
do too much.
Yeah, and this is already a really good run. We established a lot in this hour 47 minute runtime, and I think we get just enough to understand that how it's affecting other people and how much he really wants it, because you can tell from like the first time he goes into that movie theater that he wants this girl. We don't know for how long, but we can tell that that it's, I don't know, it just hinted that like he wanted her. But then once he gets those drumsticks once he gets into a Schaefer,
Studio.
yeah, everything else just put on the back burner, like, hey, this is me, this is what I gotta do. So I'm gonna disagree, but I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know you want to talk about Whiplash and La La Land, the comparison with the camera movement. So
all right,
let's go.
Before getting into that, don't get it twisted. La La Land and Whiplash are both horror films. They are not presented that way, but let's be very clear. They are both horror films.
Quick question.
Go for it.
Never mind. Is La La Land better? Did La La Land deserve it over Moonlight? You could just throw it out there, man. Just yes or no. I don't want to.
No comment.
Okay. All right, we can keep moving.
Right. So, in La La Land, there's this one particular camera shot that stands out in Whiplash, because Whiplash is where it occurred first, as far as I'm aware.
Ever? Or just
maybe not ever, but maybe just between the two for sure. But
okay.
Between all films, no clue.
Okay, I think that's what you're talking about.
I'm 18. I can't watch every film ever.
You can.
I have college, man.
Use your time more wisely.
Right.
Well, I know what I'm talking about.
So there's a scene in La La Land where Ryan Gosling's character is playing on the piano, and Emma Stone is dancing across the room. And so what they did is they had this camera that was stuck like on a tripod pole thing, and they kept the top unscrewed so you could turn the camera back and forth. And they had another guy stand behind the cameraman and tap his shoulder on which side that he needed to turn to. So as Ryan Gosling would play a piano thing, it would spin and it'd show Emma Stone dancing or something like that. And then he'd tap his shoulder again, go back to Ryan Gosling playing, and they would do that for, I think, like just 30 seconds or something. But it was a quick turn and really, really fast.
Right.
And so Whiplash has that same camera movement in the end of the film where Fletcher is conducting the band, and it zips back, and Miles's character, Andrew, is going for it on the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked seeing that, because that is a talented camera move. I don't know much about broadcast, but I know twisting probably that quick is not great.
Yeah.
Assuming you had to do multiple takes of that too, that you didn't just get it done in one, that you had to constantly stand there for hours, just twisting your body back and forth.
There's we did it on one of the episodes. The one we did on Us. We didn't need to actually move the camera. We just, there's some effect in Premiere. But it's called a whip pan. And I think it is really cool because I don't know, it's just the back and forth movement is really quick, but it's appropriate too.
Yeah.
And it's better than the basic, just switching camera move or just switching the angles. So yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
And to me, it kind of gave it more of a unique style. Like that scene stands out to me watching both films, and I'm sure it stands out to somebody else out there in the audience, even if it's just some random Joe.
Yeah.
And not two people on a podcast like us. But even then, like that scene sticks with you. And I don't know if they thought, like going into that the scene would be like that, or if they just thought this is kind of fun, let's try it out.
I read on, I think it was that interview, that same one, that the reason why it took so short of time to film was because they only filmed what they needed, and he knew he storyboarded everything, and he knew exactly what shots he wanted. So he didn't have only had that much extra footage.
Yeah,
and I knew there was a scene with Fletcher. The only scene that's the the main thing that's deleted was Fletcher in his apartment. You get to know what I guess what his home life was like. But I know Chazelle. I feel like I'm messing his name up every time.
I'm pretty sure it's just Giselle. I
Chazelle.
think so. We're sorry if we're butchering it.
Yeah, if you're watching this. But
Which, if you're watching this, why are you watching this?
what do you mean why?
Because we're that good.
Yeah, there's no reason why. There's no question
Because
why.
we're that good.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he said he knew what he wanted, so he didn't need all the extra footage and B-roll and stuff like that, which I think is really impressive. Like, you go in with a mission, and I know in my class they teach me, like, you need to just get as much not as much footage as you can, but like get enough. Well, get as much footage as you can, because you don't know what you're gonna need or what you had. You know, like, don't just go in with the mindset of I'm gonna get this, and that. You go in, you get this, then that. You know. So.
And to get like going in and knowing exactly what you need and getting out and having it be done well is already impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, like, that production is even more impressive, I would say, because there are so many films that get stuck in production hell for any sort of reason.
Yeah, and this was done. Yeah.
Yeah, and I it's nerdy. It's just kind of how I am. But the one that sticks to me most recently for production hell is probably the Marvel Studios Blade movie that was announced like 5 or 6 years ago, and it's been through countless directors, countless scripts, and been rewritten so many times, and it's still not out.
Isn't that Mahershala Ali?
Supposed to be, but he pitched it and then been in production hell ever since. So
they didn't even start shooting yet.
no,
Oh,
they don't even have a script locked down
oh man, that's
or a director.
oh well.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
See, that's why I don't keep up with the Marvel stuff, man. They're always going through something.
I do, though. I have a full list of the ongoing series for Marvel Cinematic Universe. So if you need that for something, I can give it to you.
I was supposed to watch everything, all the movies, a long time ago. Never happened.
Would you like the list?
Probably not. It's like 50, 60 movies, and they all look the same.
Don't forget the TV shows.
Yeah, then no one's. I don't feel like watching that. Anywho, another thing about this, Teller did majority of the drumming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really cool. It's not on. I think I read somewhere it was like 99% of it, and like for the major scenes or like the longer scenes, but I'm really hoping he did it all for the last 10 minutes of the film. And J.K. Simmons, he was a big theater guy, and he knew about conducting. And when he first met Giselle, he didn't want to. They met somewhere. They met at a restaurant, and he said, "Yeah, I don't want to be waving my hands up there. Like, I really need to know what I'm doing." And with that background in music, that scene when he played the piano when they met up again.
Yeah.
He said he was like mad nervous to like. He said it's technically easy for a regular musician, but for him, he was like super nervous. And he studied for hours on getting it right, which I think is really cool because it's easy to just go find somebody off the street that looks like him and can already play the piano. But when you want to like just go in, like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. Why I like Leo so much, and Jackie Chan, he does his own stunts, not even just stunts, but they go through the whole thing. That's why I love Christian Bale, because he'll put his body through hell just to fit the specific role, and you see it through everything or like all the movies he's done. So
same can be said for Tom Cruise, who if you ask him to do anything, he'll be like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, and that's like that pull off airplanes.
Yeah, and then he got like, I think for the Olympics, he arrived and like just jumped out of a helicopter above the stadium and like glowed or glided in. I don't know what the right tense of glide is. Glid.
Yeah, but have you seen Birdman?
I don't think I have yet.
Okay, it lost to Birdman at the Oscars, this movie. And have you seen Grand Budapest Hotel?
Sounds familiar.
Okay, that's Wes Anderson. But yeah, it lost.
Yeah, I might have seen that one.
It lost. Whiplash lost that year.
That's a bummer.
And when I found that out, there was a bunch of other movies like American Sniper and Selma. There were other nominees.
My dad loves American Sniper. My dad loves American Sniper.
Shout out to Luke's dad. I've never seen it, but I think I want to. Who is that? Brad Pitt? No.
Some other guy.
Oh, Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's Bradley Cooper. But yeah, I was thinking, let us know who you think should have won that year. In the 2015 Oscar Best Picture. It did win other awards, including Best Film Editing, Best Sound, and Best Sound Mixing. Yeah, and it was nominated for Best Picture and Best Adapted Screenplay. So
Maybe there's just a thing against Giselle films, because
oh yeah, La La Land. That's why I asked you.
that was a funny Oscars. If you haven't seen it, the context was they got up, was it Best Picture
Yeah.
award? Yeah, so they get up for stage and they have the card, and they're opening and they read La La Land, and all the crew gets up there, and the guys, might have been Giselle, I think, giving the speech, but he was already talking, was like halfway through it, and somebody else is like tapping one of the people in the back, and they're all like looking really confused in the background.
Yeah.
And they finally get up to him, and they're like, "There's been a mistake," and everyone in the Oscars crowd was like, "Huh?" And they were like, "No, it lost to Moonlight," and everybody was like, "Are you sure?" And they held up like the actual card and said Moonlight is the winner of Best Picture or something like that, which to me makes me wonder how in the world you messed that up.
Yeah, it's the biggest award of the night, and you screw it up.
Not that I trust everything the Oscars award, because Jamie Lee Curtis also won Best Supporting Actor for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I don't think she deserved that.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
and
because she was going up against, I think, I can't remember everyone else in it, but I know Angela Bassett for Wakanda Forever was in that running, and I thought she should have won, because I know it's a Marvel movie, boo on me if you want, but she actually gave a pretty hardcore performance in that movie, and I thought she deserved it. And then they're like, "Ooh, Jamie Lee Curtis."
Sure.
It's like, no.
Yeah, I think. Well, what are your thoughts on the intensity part? Like, just how hard he was going in.
That is some wild.
And the way he was being pushed by Simmons.
That is some even wilder.
Wilder.
I can't speak. I can't. Anyway, but yeah, that's some brutal stuff, and ties back into what I was saying earlier too, with the aggression versus passion, because of how passionate he was in the scene where he first makes his hands bleed. Because beforehand he gets like a bucket of ice, and watching it the first time, because I watched it again for this, but I've seen it before.
Right.
But watching it the first time, I was like, why does he have a bowl of ice? And then he's just going for it on the drums, screaming, and eventually loses it and just starts punching the out of his drum set and breaks through one of the drums and has blood running all down his hands. And instead of like doing a normal thing and trying to clean it up, he just plunges his hand in this ice water and then wraps it in a bandage that's not really on there tight, and then just starts going back at it. And so that to me is kind of the aggression part, where you kind of lose control while you're doing it, but you're passionate enough to not stop, even though it's putting all the blood, sweat, and tears you have.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't like saying it, but I liked the intent behind it. And the whole premise, or what they base it off of, was Charlie Parker. They called him Bird.
Yeah.
And just the backstory with that, and how they he threw a symbol at his head because he messed something up.
Yeah, I think Fletcher was saying he wouldn't have become the Bird if whatever the guy's name didn't throw a symbol at his head.
Yeah, and it was something else with, he got laughed at on stage, and then he went home and he never got laughed at again. Then like the next day he just practiced harder. And then back with the Bird, he said I forget his mentor or his no, what happened? Charlie Bird, he got told he like sucked or whatever, and then he went home, practiced, and like came back with like the best solo anyone's ever heard. That's what Simmons' character said.
Yep. And Fletcher tries to justify that too later on, because eventually Andrew's dad gets, I think it's a lawyer. I'm not really sure. It wasn't like clarified, but she was dressed in a suit, but had like a weird name tag, so I didn't know.
I thought she was like a guidance counselor or something.
That's what I kind of thought too.
Human resources.
Yeah. But anyway,
yeah.
They call her in, and what they do is they ask if Fletcher's inflicted any emotional distress on you for anything, and that they can prosecute against that, and that's why he gets fired from Schaefer. But in a scene where they meet up later in a bar where Fletcher's performing, he talks about how even though he got fired, he's not going to apologize for the way that he was teaching, and reiterates that stuff with Bird, that if he didn't throw that symbol at his head and somebody instead said it was all right, then Bird would have been like, yeah, I did okay, and then he would just fade off into history. And then you get another famous quote of, there are no two more harmful words in the English language than good job.
Yeah. I've never. I don't like compliments, so I wouldn't have liked a good job. That
Do
just
a
sounds
poor job at the podcast, Cam. Does that inspire you?
pretty kind of like to just go do something different or better. Like no one's ever given me feedback on this thing, on this podcast, but I don't know.
Which we encourage feedback, constructive feedback, not just your podcast sucks.
Yeah.
We'd like actual tips to make this better for all of you, the viewers.
Yeah. But yeah, hearing good job is like, I don't know, it just sounds like so mediocre. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks. I know it comes from a pure heart, a good intention for most part, but like, I don't know. I personally just don't like compliments anyway. So like, just don't tell me anything unless it's like something I could have done better, even if I did like the best job ever. Unless like I feel like I did, forget it. I'm overdoing it. But yeah, fun fact, another one. You know that scene when Teller rushes the stage and like tackles Demon?
Yeah.
Broke his ribs.
Teller did?
No, Simmons broke his rib. Teller broke Simmons' ribs.
I feel like I saw something about that, but
and he said he was out.
maybe I knew that.
Yeah. And
That's wild, though.
I think that was on like the last 2 days of filming, they said. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But I think, no, just that last scene when he's doing the solo.
Yeah. Cinema.
And when the dad's looking through like the hole in the door, that is a great shot. That's one of the great shots. And another great shot is when it's super close up on Teller's face. I keep saying the real name, but forget it. When it's just close up on Teller's face and he's like smirking because like he knew he made it right then and there. You can't see it in Simmons' face, but you can tell kind of by like the way his mouth was moving. You can't see his mouth, but like his cheeks.
You can see like the little pieces
Yeah.
of your cheeks here, like they'll raise up when he smiles. And then he like raises up into camera and it cuts.
Nah, I like that part, and you could see the horror in the dad's face, but you could see like the, oh man, I made it in Simmons or in Teller's face. And I'm just like, man, these are just so different aspects of people. Because his dad's like, oh man, look at, it's like, oh man, this kid's gonna go like crazy, not like crazy and like oh man, he's going like great, but like it's gonna like, this is gonna ruin him. But Teller's like, oh yeah, I'm finally here. And then Simmons is like, oh yeah, because Simmons' whole thing was like, oh yeah, I want to make something. I need to make somebody good, because he said he didn't really have that.
Yeah, he said no matter who, he didn't have anybody that was like the next Bird or something.
Yeah,
He used a different term than that, but that's pretty much the essence of what he was saying.
And he just wanted to like push someone to like, or I think it was like he didn't have anyone to push him when he was younger or something like that. But I don't know. You could tell like, oh yeah, I finally got him now, despite all of that. And I think that's just a great scene. And then they close it out with the
Whiplash is the ending song, I think.
I thought it was Caravan.
I thought they started with Caravan and went into Whiplash. Because Caravan was the one with the slow like pit, pat, pit, pat,
I
pit.
thought it was
pat,
Caravan. I don't know. But
But
this is a 9-minute one. So I think it was Caravan.
yeah.
I don't know. But
I have a question about that ending scene, though. That kind of ties back to what I said about Nicole as well.
What's up?
The dad. For the most part in the film, I think his presence needed to be there because it just kind of helped establish Andrew as a character. So he was like a well-done supporting character. His scenes mattered, especially during the dinner table.
Yeah.
But at the end, whenever Andrew goes off stage for a second and takes his suit jacket off, you don't know that the dad's in the crowd until he just comes through the doors. So, as far as I remember,
You saw him earlier when he's like peeking outside. And
I
Neiman.
think so. I thought he only looked through the door afterward. Unless I just am misremembering. But regardless of whether he's there or beforehand, would Andrew have just not told him that Fletcher was the dude composing? because they got him fired from Schaefer, but then his dad was like seemingly content with him working for Fletcher again.
So, like, what's your question? I'm kind of confused. What do you?
Like, why do you think that was? Or like, was his presence there needed?
What's the dad's presence there needed?
Yeah, in the final scenes.
Like, it's his kid performing. I mean, I'd assume he'd want to see his child perform.
Yeah, I guess my thought process is like, if he knew that Fletcher was the dude conducting him, I feel like he would have tried to advise his son against going. But that scene doesn't really happen in the film, so I'm a little confused on that part. It's not like detrimental to the story or everything. That's just me kind of overthinking it. But
I don't think it's a one. So, what are you saying? Like, if he didn't, did he know prior? Like, is that the
yeah, like, did he know that Fletcher was the dude conducting him, or did he just show up and then Fletcher walks out and he's like, "Holy shit"?
I don't know.
That's where I'm at.
Nonetheless,
I don't know.
I think it would have been fine either way. Like, if his kid's old enough to make his own decisions, he's in college, so I think he knows, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And this
Yeah,
what
but his dad spent money on like a lawyer or human resources or whoever that lady is. So
I mean, it's what I want to do, man. I want to
true.
be great. So
one of the greats.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I think his dad would have showed up either way. I mean, upset or not, my kid's performing. Kind of wants to do whatever he wants.
I think it just catches me off guard every now and then that I see it.
Yeah.
Where like he walks in and I'm like, "Where were you?"
Yeah. Fair point. But I don't know. I like that the dad was there because we get that shot with him looking through.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good shot.
But is there anything else you'd like to say, Luke? Any rating?
I'm ready for a rating if you are, Kim.
I'm ready for a rating. You can go first.
All right. I will rate this movie a 4 out of 5.
4. Okay.
Like I said earlier, story is the most important thing, and I would argue that Nicole is worth a point drop off.
You're giving it a whole point?
Yeah. I would argue that the sub point missing is worth a whole point off.
You're not serious. Because of this one character who's not even in it for that long?
It's an unneeded sub point or subplot to me, I would say.
A whole point?
Yeah.
Each his own. Each his own. I really want to give it a 5.
But
I don't know. I really want to give it a 5.
what's holding you back here, Kim?
Because I didn't have that
Like that gut instinct for it?
yeah, like, oh man, this is the one. Like, I can watch Batman a million times.
Which Batman?
It's any of them from the trilogy.
All right.
Dark Knight more than any of them, but
Probably it.
either one. I mean, any of them. I can watch that. Spotlight. I just get that. Oh yeah, this is.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I've seen movies too where it's like, Interstellar for me is probably the biggest one that I get that gut reaction out of. And same with Oppenheimer, where I'm like, that is good.
Yeah.
That is a 5 out of 5 masterpiece kind of thing.
But still, like, I feel like I shouldn't need. Like, I don't get. Like, I love Annie, but I don't get like that gut feeling from Annie. Like, Annie's a 5 out of 5 for me, even though most of it's from nostalgia.
Yeah.
But I still give it a 5 out of 5. So I don't know. It's either a 4.5 or a 5. Oh my god! I think on Letterboxd I gave it a 5. I don't think I've ever given anything a 5 on here.
I obviously have. You just
Oh, man, no, you gave Interstellar a 5. I'm sure.
wait. That's true. I think I did give Interstellar.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot about that.
yeah. You forgot you were on here. You thought this was your
It
first.
was an honorable mention too. I shouldn't be forgetting that.
Do I want to give it a 5 or a 4.5?
I think the fact that you're hesitating leans more towards
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying about the gut reaction, you would have known had this been a 5 out of 5.
But I've been
Like-
listening to the soundtrack. Crazy. It's great. It's a great runtime too to establish everything.
That's true.
I think I'm still gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I
All right.
think because I can confidently say 5, and I'm really I don't just give 5s out. So yeah, I think I'm gonna. If I can give like a 4.75, that's crazy. That's too much. I'll give it a 4.5. 4.5, 4.
Those are solid ratings.
I think so. But yeah, clearly we've been yapping for a good 40 plus minutes. Great movie. I've been looking forward to recording this all day.
He's not stopped talking about it.
I run into Luke like 2-3 times. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be.
Came up to the front desk earlier and you like put your phone up against the window and you were like, movie, cinema.
Yeah. Truly, I listened to Oppenheimer.
Oh, I thought it was Whiplash soundtrack. I couldn't see the phone against the glass.
That was Oppenheimer. I was far. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please let us know your thoughts on the movie in the comments.
And give us any feedback you might have. Just don't throw instruments or other equipment at us.
Facts.
Please.
We will see you next week for another movie. We'll be starting guests soon. I think we said we're going to start it this week or weeks after. We'll be starting guests soon, so put your friends on or tag or comment your friend's name or if you want to get on here or whatever.
Or if you see us around campus, just ask us.
Yeah. Once again, I'm Cam.
I'm Luke.
And we will see you next week. Bye.
See ya.